So we're going to have to wing it. We'll just go from this. I apologize. So my next slide was actually going to take from Taylor and show the actor James Vanderbeek and say, I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's not me, but it is what it is. So you're stuck with me. And as a former strategy consultant and not having something to write or slides to speak to, I don't know if I may faint up here without this. So please bear with me. So we're partnered. My talk is going to really focus about our partnership with Oracle and what we're trying to accomplish and why we're so excited about it. So from a standpoint, NVIDIA is focused on kind of a platform to deliver analytics, AI, HPC, extends from the chip all the way to the software stack to make it easier. And we're partnered with Oracle, definitely on the compute side as well as the application side. So our broader team is working with Oracle to design all layers of kind of like anywhere from the compute to the networking, the storage, to ensure that what they have is made for kind of the best of breed solutions out there. Similarly, where we have, many of you may be familiar with NVIDIA, we not only have the core compute, the GPUs, but drivers, libraries, and such that we really have developed on the vertical basis to work with each of their customers and we're working with their applications to kind of harness. So one of the reasons I guess we're excited to work with Oracle is I saw this from very early on, and they kind of told the corny, I call it Brady Bunch story. The three of them got together to kind of build the cloud and learn from their mistakes and all that good sort of stuff. Okay. And from that standpoint, I actually really saw it as true. They had said, like, we saw this here and it didn't work, and they were going to try to improve it. And for somebody who is building, compute accelerators and trying to build like best of breed, Ferraris in terms of compute, having somebody invested in all these areas was very important. So from the compute perspective, they're always working with us to see what we're developing to ensure that they have kind of our best and have it as an offering to the customers. Similar in the networking side, they said that they learned several things from their past things, and they wanted to make sure that they didn't have shortfalls as it kind of went from a networking. God, you have the same problem. So this is what I'm talking about, our libraries and extensions, partner with them with applications, core infrastructure. The reason, I was beginning to explain the reason why we were excited is just from the broad sort of compute, networking, and storage. What we've seen in a lot of our HPC and AI engagements is, the traditional enterprise architecture didn't really fit the demands. And so as you went and architected a whole solution, if you brought in a really fast compute processor and didn't invest in the networking, didn't invest in fast storage, it wasn't any good because there'd be bottlenecks in getting the data and the analytics to actually compute. So in working with them, our engineers kind of helped identify by verticals what the different workloads looked like, what the whole data pipeline looked like to ensure that they're engineering the right solutions to kind of meet these markets we're trying to approach together. So,
Can you talk any more just about the integration between our engineers and your engineers, basically? I mean, one of the really cool things that we see that Raj has the opportunity to is, again, on a weekly basis, actually sit down with your development guys and go through, hey, this is our recommendation for processors or architecture.
So as Oracle develops their architecture, we talk about our compute platforms and what it's going to need around it to kind of to maximize it according to different workloads. And so we have engineers that are subject matter experts from the HPC workloads to the AI workloads to the analytics workloads, to the visualization workloads, to even just accelerated compute for Oracle's traditional applications. Because each of them are going to have a different profile in terms of I/O, in terms of data set, in terms of what's going to be tried to render the outcome. And so, for instance, the simulation models you're going to run for petroleum refinery is going to be completely different than the autonomous training required to make an autonomous car, which is going to be completely different than the analytics that a large retailer is going to require to forecast, how much produce they need where. And all these are going to be different. And because of that, we needed to make sure that their network, that they had the right type of storage, the right type of compute all out there. And it starts with the design of the actual system. And then one thing that's unique, and I'm about to go into it right here, is we've aligned across verticals. So our sales engineers are working with their sales engineering and their product team to talk about these specific workloads to these verticals and understanding how Oracle solution can meet and exceed their needs, and how NVIDIA's partnered and to talk about that. And I think that's one of the things that's really unique about our partnership with Oracle, in that we actually go hand in hand to the customer, talking about the solutions and making sure that we've developed the solutions to meet their needs. Taylor, did that answer your question? Perfect. So if you take a look this across the different verticals, I think you've probably seen this from Oracle. I have federal in there to kind of questions brought up because our federal teams are working together. And specifically, I talked about working about different workloads. So for instance, on FSI, we ensure that the kind of high performance trading algorithms can all be supported to the NLP engines required for the customer service representatives and analyzing that. Completely different workloads, but as their teams go to market to talk to the FSIs, those are things they need to talk about it and why accelerated compute and how that fits in, and that's where we're partnering. Oil and gas, Tejas already talked about it. Healthcare, that's unique perspective in terms of, again, you need everything from drug development to actually radiology imaging. All those require different kind of workloads and kind of thinking about storage. Our partners at IBM here are going to talk about, file systems. That's one thing I'll let them talk about it, but having, especially in the petroleum case, that can be very interesting just in terms of the petabytes of data that you need to move around. Any questions? I kind of went around here. Next part of our partnership, so we talked about the compute and go to market with the customers. Oracle has some of their own products, and we're working with them to ensure that they really can keep up with the times, and we're partnering with them to bring AI to the enterprise. That's kind of the charge I lead inside NVIDIA and within Oracle as well. So with Akrup, who's in charge of developer relations for NVIDIA, she and I work with the different application teams to talk about how their code and their processing could work on GPUs and maybe change the way they do business. In conversational AI, the digital assistant, so per se, one of the things that's really important there is recently that has taken the fact that a large amount of data needs to be processed. And these models, these complex models, you may put 8 of them together to go ahead and build actually a digital assistant engine for a particular solution. And so that requires a lot of complexity in terms of both application development, training, and even to inference and running it. And so we're partnering with their digital assistant team to kind of bring down their training from days and weeks to hours to build these models. And so that's a very important partnership for us. As we talk about data science, so Oracle bought datascience.com last year because they saw the growing trend that enterprises are trying to bring machine learning into the enterprise. And so we're working with the data science platform to ensure that they can leverage GPUs to the best benefit, from actually, their custom containers around these ML algorithms to actually, rendering the outcome. And this is all about making it, again, easier for enterprises that maybe don't have reams of data scientists out there to build their own ML applications, to go ahead and work with Oracle and datascience.com to do so. Enterprise data. So, rumor has it that Oracle applications and databases may contain a lot of enterprise data out there. And so we're committed to kind of working with enterprise to really unlock that data from the applications and databases and make it actionable in kind of the HPC AI analytics workload. So we're working with the Oracle teams to develop connectors to the database. And one that we talked about, I can talk about here is grCUDA. And so that's really taking the GraalVM kind of languages and connecting it to CUDA so developers can leverage that. Algorithms. So here I'm really talking about an example I can talk about is the MSAT2, which is a time series algorithm that Oracle has developed. We're working with them to take it to market with several opportunities there. And the difference in kind of performance here is really going to be groundbreaking. So as we engage with their customers, they're going to see some significant performance and really allow Oracle to differentiate themselves here. But here, it's a great example of a win-win partnership. Our engineers work with their engineers, and let me tell you, being on some of these calls, it's beyond my capability of technology and understanding it. But at the end, I think we've partnered together to bring a really strong product. And then just accelerated compute. I bring up the Oracle Data Cloud as a good example. They have a matching algorithm that is by its very nature parallel, which runs very well on GPUs. And so we work with them, and once we're done, and they launch it, it's going to be much faster, be able to use much more data, and use less footprint kind of in the cloud. So it's going to give them an advantage. And those are some of the ones I can kind of talk about at this moment. But in general, really what we're trying to do, and why Oracle's such a great partner for us, and I think why we work together is, enterprises are struggling, whether it be with AI, HPC, and a lot of analytics, and we're trying to partner with them to bring it easier and kind of, as Ian would say, democratize AI for all of us here.